Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in. Andy from Phantom Fishing, and just wanted to, just a little bit of a history lesson. When I started this channel, like a long time ago, I know it's been a slow progression, but when I started this channel, I was Mr. Shakey Head. And that's because I loved throwing a shaky head, and I had a couple guys call me Mr. Shakey Head because that's all I threw, but I caught a lot of fish on it, and that's why I threw it so much. But you know, when I was out the other day throwing the shaky head, I realized I don't really even have a video about shaky heads or anything. So I'm just gonna do a real quick video to show you guys how I rig a shaky head, what I usually throw it on, why I throw it on that. So here it is. All right, so to boil it down into a very simple deal, to me, shaky head is a finesse technique. I know a lot of guys throw it on really big, heavy heads down deep with really big worms, but I think of shaky head as a finesse technique. So I use two different heads. I use the push-on type and the screw lock. Mostly the screw lock, but I did find this Picasso Rhino head and it seemed to work really well in the rocks, so I'm gonna start throwing that a little more. Strike King also has like the Kevin Van Dam or something push on that you can find at Walmart. It's okay, I've seen a lot of fish caught on that, but I prefer a screw lock that I can screw the worm onto. It stays on it just stays on better, and I have more confidence in that because I like the way it looks on the jig head, and I will show you what I'm talking about there as far as how it's lined up. So like I said, there's two types that I like to use. It's the screw lock right there. You screw the worm right onto it, and the push on that you will actually push the end of the worm onto it, and the difference is to me that, you know, one may come through cover a little better than the other, and obviously that would probably be the push on, but I don't see a huge difference. I know there is a type that has a place to push it on, kind of like the screw lock, and those are just, that's miserable losing worms, so I don't even deal with those. But let me show you how I rig these worms up. I got a couple plasma tails in two of the colors that I've been using the most. And I use a shaky head a lot this time of year, so these are the two colors I've been using the most, the green pumpkin plasma and the purple fire. So I'll show you. Sometimes I will just bite the end of it so it fits a little bigger against the head, but for this I won't. So I'm doing it just typical, but I'm not going to go down very far, and the reason is because it has to make this angle coming back to this worm. So I'm flipping it over, pushing it on. It sits pretty good on that head, but then I got to come up to this worm. So you can see the drastic angle that it has to take, and that's one reason I don't care for the push-ons. But you can see I want that worm as straight from the head down as possible, and I also don't want any resistance. So sometimes if you put it too tight, you'll get a little more resistance, and with the lighter line and the finesse technique, you need all you can get to get that hook into that fish's mouth, because a lot of times it will skin hook the roof of the mouth and it'll come off. So you need that hook to come through that as well as you can. But that's how I rig the push on. And like I said, sometimes I'll bite a little off the end just to make it fatter on the top, but that's an awesome technique. Now this one is my favorite. This is a Shakey Head actually. That other one is a Rhino Head by Picasso. But I like to screw it on to where it is underneath the head, to where there's nothing sticking out, so it's not going to add anything to catch any kind of vegetation or anything like that. Then I'll do it just like a Texas rig. I'll find where the worm is going to come through, mark it, stick it through, and a lot of times I will skin hook these unless I'm in some thick brush or heavy cover, but I want that thing to come out of there as easy as possible. So that's how I'm rigging that. You can see it's a lot straighter. Well, being skin hooked, I'll show you without skin hooking it. But you can see it's a lot straighter and less of an angle to the hook point. So I think you get better, that hook comes out of that worm better, I think. But those are the two ways I like to rig a Shakey Head. And as far as weights on the jig heads, I'm using anywhere from you know, I've used a 1/16, but I'm using usually anywhere from an 1/8 to a 1/4 ounce. That's usually what I'm focused in on is those sizes. So obviously, if you want it to fall slower, you lighten it up. If you want to fall heavy, you make it heavier. I'm one of those fishermen that love to feel what's on the bottom, so I'll throw the 1/4 ounce a lot. But there you go. The Shakey Head, plasma tail, bam. So as far as what I throw it on, usually throwing it on at least a 7-foot. Whoa, it's a hornet. I just hit it. Whew, that was a hornet. I'm typically using a medium heavy, but I will throw it on a medium also. Usually 7 foot or longer. That's what I like to throw it on. That's what I'm more comfortable with. I'm throwing it on like a 200 or a 300 series reel. This one is an Abu Garcia STX 30. And yeah, sometimes I like the bigger reel, especially if I'm fishing a little deeper. I don't fish real deep lakes, so I don't think it really matters for me. Might change up if I was on, say, deeper, clearer lakes that I really need a bigger spool. I would use probably the 30 size. I don't know. But for me, it's just kind of a preference on, I use the smaller one on my medium, use the bigger one on my medium heavy. And I'm usually, when I'm medium heavy, I'm usually 10 to 12. If I'm on the medium, I'm usually 8 to 10. I don't really go smaller, I don't go bigger. So that's what I use, usually Seagar and Vizex. So that's how I rig up a Shakey Head and what I use it on. I appreciate y'all watching. Make sure you're a subscriber, make sure you like the video. And I tell you what, if you watched this long in the video, go ahead and throw a comment in of your favorite color of plasma tail, biospawn. It doesn't matter, just tell me 4.5 or 6.5 inch and what your favorite color is, and I'll pick one of you and send you a bag of them. So I appreciate you all watching. Keep fishing, keep learning.